Hey guys, Off the Mic Sports Network here, another edition of Off the Top Rope. Couple things I wanted to address here on the channel. The first one here is in regards to the Last Time Is Now tournament. It seems like, and it seemed like pretty much from jump, that the agenda here was to do John Cena and Gunther in Washington D.C. at Saturday night's main event. That seems like where this is going. I'm sorry to all the LA Knight fans. I love LA Knight. He's one of my guys. I've always wanted for him to get a big push. LA Knight's not winning this tournament. It's going to be Gunther. I'd be stunned if there was any other result there. Like LA Knight could win, and frankly, I don't think LA Knight would be the right winner of this tournament either. But the main thing that I want to hammer home here, and let me make this perfectly clear. I think Gunther is an exceptional wrestler. A lot of people who I talk to are underwhelmed by him, think he's boring, think that don't think very highly of him, that he's not their type of guy, which is totally justified. Gunther is kind of a throwback and is kind of different from the conventional prototype professional wrestler that we've seen in WWE over the years. Doesn't really have a larger than life personality, doesn't come across as very charismatic. It's because, hey, he's the ring general, and the mat is sacred. He's all about working and wrestling. So I get it. But don't get it twisted. I think Gunther's a great wrestler. He does not need to beat John Cena to validate anything. I've said this really for most of the year. The John Cena retirement tour has been a complete fail. And the cherry on top of the shit Sunday is how they orchestrated and organized this tournament, the Last Time Is Now tournament. There were some injuries in there that really screwed some things up, but there was no adventurous matchups. There wasn't anything like no real intriguing storylines to follow through. This was just a bunch of dudes wrestling, and the best options that you could have for a tournament to crown John Cena's final opponent is going to end up being the guy that you've been pushing to us really for 2.5, 3 years, a guy who is a Royal Rumble runner-up, two-time World Heavyweight Champion, King of the Ring winner, longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time, beat Goldberg in his final match, which I know nobody gives a shit about, but hey, he gave Goldberg one of his better matches that he's ever had in WWE, and that's saying a lot, because Goldberg is not a great wrestler. And I just don't get why everybody was so fixated on Gunther. I understand that, hey, Gunther, John Cena, it could end up being a decent match. We've seen some good matches from John Cena this year, hell, with Logan Paul, obviously with AJ Styles. But why does Gunther need to win this tournament and, become another legend killer? Like Randy Orton did that. Randy Orton did that 20 years ago. Like, and also, this is separate from that. If your argument to me about Gunther is, hey, we need to rebuild his reputation after he tapped out to Jey Uso and then also lost to CM Punk. First of all, look, the CM Punk thing was fine because that was a great match. The Jey Uso thing, and like I said, I think Jey Uso sounds like a great person. They've overpushed him, and the decisions that they made surrounding him, especially having Gunther tap out to him at WrestleMania, was one of the dumbest things that I've ever seen this side of my life in professional wrestling. It's unbelievable how bad of a decision it is. So if that's your argument of what you put him in the ring with, you put him in the ring with freaking Goldberg for whatever reason in July. Why does he need to wrestle John Cena? What does he have to fucking prove? The guy has every accolade virtually in the last 2.5, 3 years that you could want in WWE. The only thing he hasn't done is win a Royal Rumble. That's really it. That's really it. Two-time world champion, longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time, King of the Ring winner, retired another legend. So what? Seriously, what good is this doing? I said it a week or so ago. This tournament's been a fucking fail because they could have orchestrated this much better. Because not only Gunther winning is a bad decision, the other thing is having LA Knight and Jey Uso being two potential options to be in the finals of this tournament. Javon Evans, like you had to put Javon Evans in a first round match. Why not follow a young guy like Javon Evans through this tournament and see him grow and then maybe lose to Gunther in the finals? I would maybe be okay with that. I still don't think Gunther would have been the right. Carmelo Hayes, same thing. Obafemi, why the fuck isn't Obafemi in this tournament? Because they're scared to have him lose? Fuck that. What push your future talent. John Cena is one of the great homegrown stars of this company. He's gone next year. Why not use John Cena as a means to elevate other people? Instead, you're going with a guy who already has all the credibility, even though you took some of it out of him by having Jey Uso tap him out. And all you did was put your biggest stars in this tournament or some other guys, like an LA Knight. But LA Knight, the guy, as much as I love LA Knight and he's deserved a moment like this, the guy is not the future of this place. He's in his 40s. He's not the future of this place. You've got young dudes in your system. Trick Williams, Javon Evans, Carmelo Hayes, Obafemi. Braun Breaker wasn't even in this tournament. And believe me, we will talk about Braun Breaker because he's got a big-time opportunity for himself on the Netflix debut January 5th, 2026, that we need to address about, crowning young talent if we want to talk about that. But anybody who is arguing to me that Gunther should be John Cena's final opponent, it is the most basic and pedestrian and ordinary argument that you could come up with. Oh, he's their number one guy. He'll give him a good match. I don't give a shit about that. This should be about elevating the future and making the next guy. Facing John Cena in his final match is about as close to a WrestleMania match as you're going to get. Gunther's already had a bunch of those. Why does he need another? To me, I think this is really just TKO and WWE just sticking to the most basic formula of, okay, we've got to go with stars to sell us some tickets. You're not going to have all these stars in the future. This is the same thing that got Vince McMahon into trouble, is like, you need to develop for the future. And that's what John Cena's message has been all about. He wants Saturday night's main event to be all about the future in NXT. So why couldn't his final opponent be the same thing? Or why couldn't you have at least presented a tournament where one of these young up-and-comers would have an opportunity to get a case? Carmelo Hayes got one to two matches. Javon Evans got one match. We got a decent showing from Solo Sikoa in maybe one of the better heel versus heel matches I've ever seen in professional wrestling. It's really hard to execute that. And then, LA Knight pulls a mild upset over Jey Uso. But do I really give a shit about that? Like, this tournament could have been conducted so much better. And it's really just emblematic of how this company has treated John Cena's final year. It's all been a cash grab. They don't really care about anything, from a storyline perspective. It's just forcing a bunch of matches, a forced heel turn, a bunch of viral moments. And then you're going to have, this great wrestling match with the ring general. Sure. A guy who's probably going to be John Cena, and he doesn't need it. Listen, there are people that I know who hate Gunther and think he's overrated. I'm not one of those people. I think Gunther is a great wrestler. But at the same time, he doesn't need this to prove anything. He's got nothing to prove here. Like, I don't know why we're doing this. So that's my thought on this. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.